Okay, hello everybody. My name is Geva Perry, as I was introduced. Thank you for coming. I also want to thank Sergio and everybody else at Kio for inviting me to give this presentation. I'm generally also very much enjoying Mexico City. It's an amazing city with a lot of energy, and despite the traffic, I think it's a great city. I'm going to talk about, the main focus of the talk is the top 5 points, to my opinion, that you should consider when you're thinking of moving to the cloud, moving your apps to the cloud, and your IT operations to the cloud. But before I get to those 5 points, what I want to do is 2 things. One, talk about why move to the cloud in the first place. And the second thing is, what are the trends that are happening that affect your considerations when you move to the cloud? And most of the trends I'm going to be talking about are the trends that have been happening in the United States for the last few years. But what I've seen is, and I've worked with companies around the world, in Europe and elsewhere, where these trends seem to be following the same pattern everywhere you go. That's why I think it's very relevant in the Mexican market as well. So let me just get started. Real brief introduction about myself. I was the chief marketing officer of a company called Gigaspaces, which I built. I was part of the team that built it. And it was one of the first players in the cloud. It's a distributed application server and some other things. And I headed the cloud computing business unit there. I then started writing a blog about some of my experience. And this is very early on. This is maybe 5 years ago when cloud computing just started. Most people didn't know what it was yet. And I started writing my thoughts about where I think this thing is going, how to navigate this, what the strategy should be for companies big and small in the space. And people started paying attention, and I started being invited to a lot of conferences to speak at companies and to help companies out. And I've since then worked as a board member, as an advisor, as kind of part entrepreneur in many different companies, both big and small. Maybe the biggest success story is Heroku, which is a platform as a service play that was sold for $250 million to Salesforce.com. I'll mention them again later on in context, but that's just a brief background.